right, hey folks, we are going to do some game design today. What is going on? Give me a moment here to check on my signal and make sure that I'm coming through clear. I do my check-in here with the social medias and stuff. Mic check in here with the social medias and stuff. Yeah, sounds like it's coming through pretty good. Let's drop that down there to keep it out of the way. I'm going to grab the link here so I can do some social media posts real quick, and I'll entertain you with my origin story as I go through that clickety-click-click process. So give me a hot second here to press some buttons with y'all, and we'll get up and running. So, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them and I publish them online. And we're creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Wizards of the Coast has released a recent Unearthed Arcana, flirting some subclasses that sound like Darksun. I'm a huge Darksun enthusiast, so I am all for that. So I've been a DM since 1987. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999. I've been a Magic the Gathering enthusiast since 1994. And I started creating content on the DMsGuild in 2018, basically because Wizards started releasing settings from the Magic the Gathering game as D&D worlds that you could play characters in, but they didn't give us any rules about color mana, which is how like the alignment system and magic paradigm of the Magic the Gathering game. White, blue, black, red, green magic. It's pretty famous. It's super deep philosophy and a really robust magic paradigm using colors as not only a power source for spells and other character abilities and stuff, but also it's also color. So it's got great narrative options for DMs that want to describe, a creature's eyes growing red, is implying emotion, fire, impulse, energy. It just makes sense. So like there's so much about this, just intuitive about the magic system with MTG Color Magic. So we took that paradigm and we converted it to replace the Vancian spell system and spell slots of D&D 5e to instead have a color mana system. And I want to paint it black. Nice, man. So let's see. Let me wrap up my intro here by switching the screen around. Say, if you think this game design stuff is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of when we're live in the future. Here's a bunch of books that I've created on the DMsGuild already. They all have extensive free previews. Here's the full bundle of color mana systems that are already on the DMsGuild for 2014. This UA project is, here is the color mana playtest document for upgrading the color mana system from 2014 to the 2024 rule set with changes in characters and some tweaks about how the 5e game system works. It warrants an update to the color mana system to coincide with that change. So what we do here is we create an idea for a book, we hammer out the mechanics, we play test it back on my Discord through Road 20. If it works, we then wordsmith it, hire an editor. When the editor kicks it back to me fixed, I do the page layouts, and then I do the artwork for the books, and then we publish it. Monday through Friday in the morning, I do the artwork. I'm currently illustrating an Eberron adventure that we play tested here and are going to be publishing on the DMsGuild as well. And then Mondays and Thursday nights, as well as Tuesday and Friday lunches like today, we do game design for upcoming books that are still in the creation and idea creation and clarification process before we can hand it off to an editor for cleanup. So if you want to tag along, this is going to be a read-only document here. I can't give you content for you to be able to keep on your computer until it's published on the DMsGuild, but you guys can at least look at where we're going with the system for the time being. The front half of the book is the martial power system, which is an inspiration from the 3rd edition Book of Nine Swords, where the martial characters, martial classes, got a mana pool and could spend that mana on different martial abilities like combat and exploration options and some social stuff. And then after we get through how the power system works, we have the classes and subclasses for all the martials and the half-casters converted into this 2024 mana system paradigm, with full conversion of all the class features to work with how the mana system works. which again is linked down below. And then we have all of the subclasses that have been published both for 2024 and all the subclasses from 2014 that haven't been upgraded yet. So we've built hypothetical models for all those things. I'm going to just grab my document, this page here, and drop it down so it kind of stays out of the way, but I can keep an eye on it. And here is the Unearthed Arcana document that got released by Wizards of the Coast for Darksun subclass options that they're playing with. We'll see if this actually manifests into an actual document or not. But for now, let's click on this. I'm going to pull open a notepad here. Get out of here, AI. No one wants your help. Let's look at the subclass, the subclass spell list real quick. I'm going to click and grab. Bless, Laceration, Protection from Poison, Sanctuary, and then we got Beacon of Hope, Plant Growth, and we got Aura of Life, Death Ward, and then we have Greater Restoration and Hallow. So these 7 and 9. So I'm going to drop these into, oh boy, I gotta walk this all the way down to the Druids. After we get through all the classes and subclasses for marshals, then we do the half casters, a paladin, ranger, artificer. We also have the warlock in here as a martial option for our true Gish. And then we get into the full class builds. Starting with Bard, all of the class conversion using the Color Mana System. All of the subclasses first from 2024. And then into the Forsaken subclasses, as well as Unearthed Arcana content, which actually hasn't been published officially yet in any 2024 book. All of the subclasses are in here, including a conversion guide for the Scion and the 4 subclasses we have for Scion so far. And once we get past the Cleric, we get into the Druid. Here we are. And now we can drop down here and Druid subclasses. It's almost there. Forsaken subclasses. Circle of Preservation is what we're looking for. Looks like that's going to be right here. So I'm going to just grab this chunk. I'm going to do a copy pasty. And I can hear myself, so give me a second. I'm going to drop my volume down a little bit more. There we go. Okay, good enough. Let's see. Right, so we're going to then go to our document here, Circle of Preservation. So let's Circle of, give me a second here while we do the updates. Circle of Preservation, and then Circle of Preservation spells. Specified spells. Grab these. And since this is Darksun, I'm particularly interested in what this spell list is as an indication of things to think about with the color mana pool. So give me a hot second, and we're going to drop into... First, let's lift these things. Preserved Land and Student of Preservation. Preserved Land and Student of Preservation. Copy. I'm going to get rid of this block of text here. Student of Preservation. And then we'll have, ooh, it's a tight list. We might get through this. Improved Preservation. Actually, we can go here. We can go Improved Preservation. This is what we like to call making sausage. all the steps and stuff that goes along with creating subclasses, classes, books, etc. It's what we do here. Facilitated restoration. Facilitated restoration. It just rolls off the tongue. And then 14 is Sacrosanct Land. All right, let's see if it's possible for us to get through this one today. All right, so looking in, if you were to jump into the Color Mana spell list, the Color Mana system that we have here. And scroll down to the revised Color Mana spell list. It's pay what you want, so you can just grab it, but if you click on the free preview, the entire thing is here. This outlines color magic, the 5 colors, white, blue, black, red, green, some of the themes that are associated with each color we call aspects of magic, like white magic is divinity, healing, light, protection, restraint. Green is animals, healing, plants, nature, spirits. You can see healing shows up both in white and in green. There's so many magic cards, and the majority of them that do healing are white and green. Like with fire, aggression, earth, emotion, energy, impulse, black, control, entropy, fear, soul, darkness. Like soul and spirits is black and green, but you also have divinity. So white, black, and green all deal with like having a soul or the afterlife or reincarnation or raising the dead or animate dead. It's this life force energy that each of the colors will play with in different ways. So you take these different aspects of magic, and then you also look at the types of damage that can be dealt in D&D. BPS is colorless. It's just physical damage. There you go. But all the magical elemental type damage, again, white, blue, black, red, green, the 10 types of damage. And using all the cards from Magic the Gathering, we've sorted the different types of damage into their corresponding colors between D&D and MTG. So like acid, almost anything in dealing with acid in MTG cards is either black or green mana. As is poison, also black and green, like snakes, green, spiders, black, for instance. Force damage tends to be white, blue, and red, while fire is red. Lightning, there's like 600 lightning cards. There's like, it's like 350 cards in Magic the Gathering that have something to do with lightning, and all but 2 of them are red. So lightning is red, there you go. But thunder, like an atmospheric thing, or like impact or shock, blue, red, and green is pretty prevalent. Radiant as white magic makes perfect sense, as does necrotic as black magic. So taking these ideas, blending the aspects of magic with the types of damage that is devoted to each color of magic, you come up with the Color Mana spell list. Like Druidcraft, doing woodsy elemental stuff, that's a green vibe. Firebolt, red spell. Granted, cantrips don't cost any mana, but they still are magic, so they have a color that they're devoted to. You could cast Firebolt as a white spell if you wanted to, but it's not naturally a white spell. Its native devotion is red. So if you wanted to change it to a different color, you would either spend downtime researching it, or you could prepare it twice, once in its native color, and then you can learn it again in a completely different color. So you're either you're sculpting spells to match the colors you want in your mana pool, or you're sculpting the colors in your mana pool to match the spells you want to cast, whichever one is more important to you and what sort of world you're living in. Like in Ravnica, your characters only get access to 2 colors. Strixhaven, only 2 colors. Technically, in Theros, you can have as many colors in your color pool as you want, because the gods don't bind you to specific colors, but each god is devoted to specific colors as well. So as your devotion or piety with those gods increase, as your character gains level, you'll naturally start getting access to more spells in the colors that are aligned with the god that you have most piety with. So you can naturally sculpt your spell selection to be the color that you want as a gift from the god that you champion for. So if you're looking at actually casting spells with levels, like Burning Hands, for instance, is a red spell. It costs 1 point of mana to cast it because it's a first level spell. If it's a red spell, you have to have 1 point of red mana. If it's a third level spell, such as Fireball. Fireball is also a red spell, and it's 3 mana as a third level spell to cast. So when you cast it, you spend 3 points of mana. 1 is red, and the other 2 are any color that you want. So you could have a Rakdos character tossing fireballs with red and black, or you could have a Boros character throwing fireballs with white and red mana instead. But when you run out of red mana in your mana pool, you can't cast red spells anymore until you have a chance to take any kind of a rest. On a long rest, full casters get all their mana back like you would expect in D&D 5e. And then when you get your points back, you can decide what color do I want each point in my mana pool to be. I'm going to lean red heavy today, and I'm going to back off the black. I don't need a lot of it. So I might go like 75% red. You don't sometimes you get mana back depending on what your class and your features are. But regardless if you get mana back or not, whenever you take a short rest, you can change the colors of whatever mana you still have in your pool. So if I had 10 points and 7 of them were black, 7 of them were red and 3 were black, and I've burned through 5 of them, so I only have 5 points left, I may decide, well, now I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to have all 5 points go into black, and I'm going to skip red spells for now. But whenever you take a rest or you regain mana, you can decide what color those are. And again, when you learn spells, you can either spend research time to make that spell whatever color you want, so that when you pick it, like I want to cast Fireball, but I want to use white mana. So I only have to have white mana in my mana pool. So I'm going to take the time to learn Fireball to put it into my like wizard spell book, or use rituals as a priest or a druid to learn that spell in the color that I want, in this instance white. So when I throw a Fireball spell, I only have to have white mana in my mana pool. I don't need to worry about red. So as your character grows in power and if you're utilizing downtime in your campaign, your casters can be spending a lot of their downtime in sculpting their mana pool and the spells that they cast to synergize with each other, so they're always going to have the mana that they want and be able to cast the spells that they want with that mana. So, and obviously as you gain higher and higher levels, it's easier and easier for you to have the time or the resources to be able to get those spells the way that you want. Also, if you go raiding a dungeon or a lab or something like that, you can find scrolls or spell books that have spells in them that are built in colors that they might not normally be in. Like you might find a green Fireball. It's like, hey, that's great. My Simic Combine character with green-blue magic, this is going to make it easy for them to pick up Fireball because I now have access to that as a green spell because I found it as loot. So now magic loot in your game has more of a purpose than, it's just a spell book. I have all these spells. Like, yeah, you might have all those spells, but all these spells are in green. And if you have a green character on your team that learns spells, like, this is super useful. I'm going to spend time researching with this spell book and start picking up these spells in the color that I want. So that's a way that you use the system. So again, you can check this out. It's all that stuff is in the Color Mana Spell Point Variant Rule System that is linked right here on the DMsGuild. Check it out. If you love it, you can join my Discord server, and I'm happy to talk with you about it. Where'd my Discord go? Here you go, Discord community. Free to join, be welcome. So we're building out the Preserver Druid. So I have a side list here with the 2024 spells updated. So let's take a hot minute and look at what color spells these have. Bless is normally going to be white. I know that offhand. Bless is a white spell. So I'm just going to put some markers next to these. Lesser Restoration should be white and green. So let's look at that. Second level spell, isn't it? Right, because you get both first and second level spells at third level. Lesser Restoration, there you go, it's white and green. Protection from poison, that should be black, green, and white, I imagine. White, black, and green. Black and green because those are the colors of poison. And then white because that's the color of protection. So this could be white, black, green. And then Sanctuary is protection, so that's probably going to be just straight up white. Sanctuary. White and black. Right, because black is denial and control, while white is protection and restraint. So the Sanctuary spell protects your character by denying attackers from damaging you. So it both works inside that white-black space together. That's fun. Beacon of Hope is 3rd level. The Beacon of Hope, white and green. Are you seeing the theme here? Preserver Druid, white and green magic, like all over the place, right? What color do you think plant growth is going to be? Well, if you said green, you're probably right. Bam, green. Aura of Life. Take a guess at what colors Aura of Life is. If you guessed white and green, you're right. White, green, and then Death Ward. That's probably going to be, I bet that's white and black. Hold on real quick. Death Ward 4th level. No. Yeah. Aura of Life, white, green. Death Ward. Oh, white, green. Nice. And Greater Restoration. That's probably going to be white, green as well, but let's check it out. White and green it is. And then Hallow, I believe that's white. It might be white and black. I'm honestly not certain. Hallow. Oh, it's all colors because you can deal different types of damage with the Hallow spell. So it can actually be all colors. Okay, so now that we've gone through that process, I like to do that process first because it gives us an idea of these are spells that they say is like iconic to the Circle of Preservation. And we can see here that it's obvious, although there's some black sitting in here and there, everything is either white or green. So my character could literally, 1, 2, 3, other than plant growth, my character could literally have nothing but white mana, and I would be okay. Here's the thing though, bonus spells, they can be any color that you want because they're bonus spells. If your character was Rakdos, red-black, and I played a Circle of Preservation Rakdos character, for whatever reason I decided to do that. But if I did, these bonus spells could be cast as black or red mana because those are because these are bonus spells that I get with my character. So regardless of what colors my character prefers, I can always cast my bonus spells in whatever color I want to reflect my character's devotion and alignment with what this subclass represents. The rest of the spells that I select as a druid will have to conform with the mana. But everything so far here is sitting as white and green, which is exactly what I would expect for Circle of Preservation in a Darksun campaign. It's just logical that it would do that. I love seeing how often these colors correspond and match up with color philosophy without them necessarily pointing it out. The system that we're building here is designed specifically to point that out, gamify and build rules around Magic the Gathering as a 5e magic paradigm that people can use. So now that we have that established, we can start dropping into coding for the actual subclass. So level 3, Preserved Land. We're going to, this is what we do. We grab the text, we go into a notepad, we drop it in, we cut it out, and then we drop it back into this document so it doesn't have any formatting on it, and now we start to translate it. So this is going to be, obviously this already uses the language of 5e24, rules as written, player's handbook, and we're going to convert it into the color magic paradigm using the mana system that we've developed. So mana deals with things differently. So let's see what it says, and then we'll see how we gotta change it. So as a bonus action, you can expend a use of your wild shape to fill a 15-foot cube originating from a point on the ground that you can see with 120 feet of yourself with revitalizing energy. The effect lasts for 1 minute or until you have the incapacitated condition, are more than 120 feet away from the cube, or die. Whenever a creature, including you, ends its turn in the cube, you can grant the creature one of the following benefits. You can either bolster, which is the creature gains temporary hit points equal to D4 plus your druid level. There's Purify, which is you end one effect on the creature, causing it to have... You end one effect on the creature, causing it to have the frightened or poisoned condition. In addition, non-magical vegetation native to the region sprouts on ground within the cube. This vegetation disappears when the effect ends. As a bonus action on subsequent turns, you can move the cube up to 30 feet to another area on the ground within 120 feet of yourself. There. So, Purify, you end one effect on the creature, causing it. That's weird. You end one effect on the creature, causing it to have the frightened or poisoned condition. You end one effect on the creature, causing it. What the fuck? What are they trying to say there? You end one effect on the creature, causing it. Oh, you end an effect causing that causes the frightened or poisoned condition on a creature entering that area. God, that is really weirdly written. Let's see. You can end the frightened or poisoned condition on the creature. How about that instead of being so freaking weird? The creature gains temporary hit points equal to D4 plus your druid level. I'm actually okay with that. As a bonus action, you can expend a use of your wild shape. The effect lasts 1 minute or until it ends. Whenever, and I'm going to hit enter here to separate this. Whenever a creature ends its turn in the cube, you can grant the creature one of the following benefits. There you go. Okay, so as a bonus action, you can expend a use of your wild shape to fill, and with this system, let's go fetch. Bard. Again, playtest document link down below. We are on page 200 and... No, on page 190. Circle of Dreams. There we go. Circle of Preservation. Page 190. There we go. So scrolling up, that's where we're at here. Scrolling up here, let's look at Wild Shape. Spellcasting, Druidic, you cast spells, you have a Primal Order, Wild Shape, 2nd level. Wild Companion, you can cast Find Familiar by expending a use of your Wild Shape. Wild Resurgence, during your turn, you can expend 2 mana to regain a use of your Wild Shape feature, no action required, and you can sacrifice a use of Wild Shape to regain 2 mana, no action required. So at 3rd level, wait, you can't do Druidic Restoration. No, Wild Resurgence is at level 5. So at level 5, a druid has 16 mana on a short rest. And again, a 1st level spell is 1 mana. A 3rd level spell is 3 mana. Mix them up any way you want. And then the amount of wild shapes that you get is, well, at 6th level, it'll be 3. So each one is worth 2 mana. So I could wild shape 8 times at 5th level, in addition to the 2 uses I get for free. So I can essentially wild shape 10 times if all I wanted to do is use my mana to fuel wild shaping. Or I could not care about wild shaping, and I could burn my wild shape uses to gain 2 points of mana every time that I do so. And eventually I'll have 4 uses, which is basically 8 free mana that I get, and I get uses of wild shape back. Wild shape class feature, wild resurgence, higher levels it becomes. Let's see, beast shape. While using wild shape, you can cast spells in your beast form. Potent casting, primal strike, elemental fury, wild resurgence. During your turn, you can spend 2 mana to regain a use of your wild shape. And you can sacrifice a use of wild shape to regain 2 mana. I could swear you're supposed to get potent casting, primal strikes, elemental fury, primal strikes, that upgrades, beast spells. Using, you gain mana evergreen wild shape. Whenever you roll initiative and you have no uses of wild shape left, you regain 1 expended use of it. There you go. So at level 20, you can start gaining wild shape, basically 2 free mana every time you roll initiative. You can spin it on wild shape if you want, or you can just have 2 points of mana, your choice. So that's how that works. And as a bonus action, you can expend use of your wild shape. So it basically costs 2 mana to create this effect. Ongoing for a point on the ground. You can see within 120 feet of yourself with revitalizing energy. The effect lasts for 1 minute or until you have blah, 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 blah. There. And you can choose. You can choose to maintain concentration on this feature as a 2nd level spell. So it costs 2 mana. It's wild shape, so it's a So being able to maintain a spell with the tapping system for tapping mana to maintain spells, you can tap a number of mana equal to the max spell level that you can cast. So if you're 3rd level, you can cast 2nd level spells. You can maintain up to 2 points of mana in concentration, which means it could be a single 2nd level spell or it could be 2 1st level spells. When you do this, anytime you make a saving throw, you measure the saving throw result against the concentration DC, and your concentration DC equals 10 plus the total amount of mana you have tapped. So at 3rd level, it's only a DC 12, but every time you make a strength saving throw because somebody trips you or grapples you, dexterity saving throw for any time that you could be tripped or grappled or dodging a fireball or something, or like an intelligence saving throw because you get hit with an intellect devour. Anytime that you make a saving throw, if the result of that saving throw, whether you succeed the save or not, in this instance, if it's less than 12, you lose all your spells. So you're able to stack up a lot of spells, but you also risk losing them more because you still have, I take damage, I make a constitution saving throw, DC equals half of the damage, and if I fail that, I lose all my spells. In exchange, this is a harsh, that's harsh. You can it's very difficult, so you need to pay attention to tactics and positioning in combat. Make sure that your casters loading up on lots of spells don't just get dinged with like a ray of frost and now have to make a dexterity saving throw or be slowed by 10 feet. Who cares? But you just lost your saving throw because you have like 8 mana stacked up at 17th level, and somebody just dings you with a shitty little ray of frost. And now, even though the ray of frost might have a DC of 14 to save against being slowed, you actually had to hit a DC 17 on that dexterity saving throw because you stacked 8 mana on top of your character. So that's something you have to really pay attention to. So that's balanced with you can maintain multiple spells at the same time, and there's no duration. So for however long you can maintain concentration on those spells, you can keep them. I'm making a quick tangent here, but I think it's fun to point out. Let's drop down again into the documents we have published, because I want to just point this out real quick. Attrition, because people are like, whoa, that's pretty powerful, Phil. It's like, yeah, it is, but it's high risk, high reward, and it's super fun. I've ran 3 campaigns from level 1 to 20 using this system, and it just works. It just works. You have to try it for yourself to see it. It really rewards tactics, thinking ahead, and strategizing combat and working as a team to keep shit from fucking you up. So if we drop down to, this is the original book. It's not edited or updated for 2024 yet, which we will be doing here on stream when we finish the Eberron book and get Bastion off to the printer. Editor. Variant concentration rules. Here we go. So we talked about stacking mana. Attrition checks is when you're sustaining a spell out of combat. So you occasionally want to shit test your players. So there's different conditions and environments that can force you to periodically make a saving throw. Like, for example, if you're standing very still for a long time, you have to make a Constitution saving throw. If you have to hold your breath, you're making a Constitution saving throw. If there's a loud or repetitive noise that wears on your wisdom, blinding lights or darkness, you can lose concentration while you're milling about or blinded. Maintaining scry or other divination spell is whatever ability score you're using. Researching or crafting tools used for an extended period of time, whatever ability score you're using with that skill. And the frequency of checking is based on the severity of the condition. So very mild condition is every 4 hours, versus super unnatural or supernatural powers, it's every round. You have to make a saving throw. And again, you don't need a DC on the saving throw, because the DC is 10 plus the number of levels of mana that you're maintaining up to your maximum spell level. You can also do things like get caught in a hail, sand, or snowstorm for Constitution saving throws. The classic in the player's handbook is ship at sea. Tossing you around in rough waters is a dexterity save. Simply being on an alternate plane of existence is a charisma check. Like a manifest zone in Eberron, for example, could be anywhere from mild to severe, but actually stepping through the manifest zone into another plane of existence would become an unnatural experience. So all of a sudden you're making charisma saving throws every round while you're trying to maintain a spell, which could be incredibly difficult to do. So different conditions here. You add these, basically you look at what conditions are affecting me, how severe is the condition, and that's how frequently I have to make a saving throw. If I fail the save, like if I'm at the bottom of the ocean and I fail a holding breath check on Constitution, instead of just simply losing concentration and now not being able to cast it again because you can't speak underwater, I failed my saving throw, I now have to pay an attrition price. So like if I'm maintaining 7 mana underwater and I lose concentration because I'm underwater and it's scary, then if I fail my save, instead of casting all the spells again, I could just simply pay 7 points of mana to keep those spells up and running. So I'm paying attrition. It's basically a concentration tax. And your DM is encouraged to hit you with traps, conditions, and random spells and effects from monsters that will challenge all 6 ability scores. I typically pair them up with physical and mental, like strength, dex, con, and intelligence, wisdom, charisma, and try to have encounters that will challenge one or the other, and then switch it up. Like occasionally hit strength, occasionally hit dexterity, occasionally hit constitution, occasionally hit intelligence, occasionally hit wisdom, occasionally hit charisma, and then tie them together and make a theme out of that for how this adventure is rolling. And then you can start building themes around your monsters in your game. Like if you run across hobgoblins, you know they're going to make you make intelligence and strength saves. If you run across goblins, they're going to make you make wisdom and dexterity saving throws, for instance. So you can mix and match monsters, effects, and conditions to reflect the kind of style of monsters they are, or the type of saving throws they force your characters to make. So that's one of the ideas that makes the system really fun. So high risk, high reward. Check it out. It's super fun. And so back into the class. So you can choose to maintain concentration on this preserved land feature, it counts as a second level spell, which will require all of my concentration. I get it for free for a minute and then I lose it. But if I wanted to, I could maintain concentration on it and maintain it for more than a minute. So I could theoretically have this patch of land crawling through a dungeon with me if I'm willing to use my action economy to move, bonus action the land with me, and only moving 30 feet per round so I don't lose it, like so it doesn't fall behind. Because I have to stay within 120 feet of it to be able to sustain it, even though I'm maintaining concentration open-ended, right? So, okay, so that's how that power works. That's great. Student of Preservation. Let's take a look at how that works. I'm going to copy this and drop it in here, and then I'm going to grab the rest of the section and drop that in there, and then we're going to cut it free, drop it in here, and let's see how this works. Your studies have improved your understanding of the order and resilience of nature, granting you the following benefits. Frugal casting. When you cast a druid spell, you can cast it without material components, except material components that are consumed by the spell or that have a cost specified by the spell. Additionally, whenever you cast a druid spell that requires a material component that is consumed by the spell, there is a 10% chance that the component isn't consumed as part of the casting. And then we have tool proficiency. That is a really goofy rule that I don't think exists anywhere else inside of the 5e game engine. I'm not a fan of them winging in a random percentage chance like that. Whenever you cast a druid spell that requires a material component that is consumed by the spell, there's a 10% chance that the component isn't consumed as part of casting that spell. Whenever you cast a druid spell that requires a material component that is consumed by the spell, you can expend additional mana equal to your proficiency bonus to prevent the component from being consumed. So that's obviously a lot meaner. You have a fuckload of mana. Spending mana is not a problem in this game. So we don't need to give you free spells. You get plenty of spells because you can spam mana. And when you have quirky, weird things like this, it's better to just give it a mana cost. And as you gain levels, it is scaling up in cost. Actually, having the cost scale as a proficiency bonus, I don't think that's the right way to do this. Let's see. You can expend additional mana equal to half the level of the spell cast, rounded up, minimum of 1. So if I cast a second level spell with a component that could get consumed, I would have to spend an extra point. It's kind of like hold on. It's very much like Sorcerer. Let's go look at eschew materials, because that's essentially what we're looking at. Sorcerer. Meta magic for Sorcerer. Do we have eschew materials in here? That's Wizard, isn't it? Went too far. Sorcerer. Let's look at the Great Old One. No, Aberrant. Aberrant should have it. Psionic Sorcery. When you cast any level 1+ spell from your Psionic spell feature list above, it requires no verbal somatic components and it requires no material components unless they are consumed by the spell or have a cost or have a cost specified in it. So this doesn't do anything nice like that. So I actually think that we should get rid of that feature altogether, because that is what other classes do. There, I think that's actually balanced. There's been a complaint that these classes are OP. So just using the tech that already exists inside of other subclasses is, especially because this comes in at 3rd level, and at 6th level, the Aberrant still can't just keep expensive items when cast. That tells me that 3rd level definitely should not either. And you've already got a lot going on here. Bolster and Purify are powerful effects, especially for a 3rd level character. So that's, I think that feels pretty good. Hey, let's look at improved preservation. We're blasting through this thing, man. This is going well. Copy, paste. Again, I do game design. I do color mana stuff like this on Tuesdays and Fridays at lunchtime, just like this. And then on Mondays and Thursday nights, we work on whatever the next book is that we're going to start publishing, which is the Bastion campaign system that we've been developing. So if you're interested in this stuff, I do all the artwork for them Monday through Friday in the mornings as well. So I stream 9 times per week. Stick around, like, subscribe. Improved preservation. Your preserved land becomes more powerful in the following ways. Fortify protectors. Reject desecrators. Okay, so let's see how this works. Fortify. Okay, so keeping in mind, we already have it established that you can use this with a wild shape, and you can sustain it beyond 1 minute with a 2nd level spell. As a 2nd level spell, you don't actually have to spend any mana on it. It just has a concentration effect as though it is a 2nd level spell, forcing you into attrition checks. So, Fortify Protector. While inside the cube created by your preserved land, you and your allies gain a bonus to Constitution saving throws equal to your Wisdom modifier, maximum of +1. I'm okay with that. Whenever the cube created by your preserved land enters an enemy's space, whenever the cube created by your preserved land enters an enemy's space, and whenever an enemy enters the cube or ends its turn there, that enemy makes a Wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, it takes 2d10 radiant damage, and speed is halved until the end of its next turn, as new growth rises to hinder it. On a successful save, the enemy takes half as much damage only. An enemy makes this save only once per turn. So let's go to D&D Beyond. Let's look up Conjure Elementals. That's a spell. It's a 4th level spell. It's a 15-foot cube, well, sphere, same difference. You conjure spirits. They can deal some sort of damage. That extra damage is 2d8 damage. Oh, no, Conjure Elementals, that modifies your attack rolls. That's not actually the right one to use. Let's use Spirit Guardians instead. Sixth level is when we get this feature. Spirit Guardians is a 3rd level spell, which you also have access at 5th, 6th level. It's a concentration spell. It's a 15-foot cube, essentially, and the damage that this deals is 3d8 radiant damage, as opposed to 2d10, and it causes slow. 2d10 is going to be an average of 11 damage. 3d8 is going to be an average of 13 damage, so we're going to call it a 3rd level. Let's go back to, here we go. Here, fail save. You can choose to maintain concentration on this feature as a 3rd level spell. Because it's remote, you can move it to a different area. You don't necessarily have to be standing in it. Spirit Gardens, if I'm not mistaken, is an emanation. Range self, 15-foot emanation. Yeah, so you have to get close to danger to use Spirit Guardians, and it does more damage than the improved preservation, which does a little bit less damage, but it also doesn't have to be on you, so you can hit people with it far away. So that makes it worth third. So as the feature improves and you gain levels, it becomes more expensive for you to maintain beyond the 1 minute. If it's just 1 minute, as listed, it's just a wild shape, which is effectively 2 mana. But if we're going to ramp with it, I'm down in Sorcerer. I want to go back up to Druid. At 6th level, a Druid will have 20 mana. So I'll have 3 uses of Wild Shape, all of which can be Preserved Land, and then I can use it another 10 times. Or if I trigger it, I can maintain it for however long I can maintain attrition for, and it's only 3 uses, so I'll still get 6. I can Wild Shape it 3 times and then sustain it perpetually until I'm incapacitated, blah, blah, blah. For 3 mana, so that would be 9. I still have 11 left. I could take 2 more uses. That takes me down to 7 mana. And then I can sustain those 2 additional uses for 3 mana each. That would leave me with 5 uses of the Preserved Land feature and sustain it for however long I can maintain concentration on it. And I'd still have a point of mana left over for me to cast another spell with. So I could just use Preserver Land as my core action loop to, like, I could cast the spell and then become a hummingbird and hide in the hair of our ranger on horseback, staying out of range, stay within 120 feet, and I'll just keep this cube of doom going and just roll it around. It's like that's an effective strategy that you could use. So let's look at level 10. Facilitated Restoration. Let's copy this and drop it in here. Copy, paste. Let's see, you can cast Lesser Restoration or Greater Restoration without expending a spell slot or requiring spell components. You can use this feature to cast a spell in this way a number of times equal to your Wisdom modifier minimum of once, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So instead, what we're going to do is let's look at Restoration and Greater Restoration. Greater Restoration is a 5th level spell. Lesser Restoration is a 2nd level spell. I like to organize it this way. You can cast Lesser Restoration by expending 1 mana, and Greater Restoration by expending 3 mana. There. So we don't need to give you free spells because you've got at level 10. You're going to have, how much mana are you going to have? Level 10, you're going to have 36 mana. And you've got a lot of mana. So I don't need to give you free uses, but I could reduce it. We've done this a lot with the Warlock, like the Fey Warlock, reducing the cost of Misty Step down to 1 mana instead of 2. For instance, it makes it super easy for the Spellpoint Warlock to spam the hell out of that and gain benefits from it. So with this, we're seeing a similar idea where this is a specialized spell that they want you to lean into it. So we're reducing the cost to make it super easy for you to be able to kick out this ability. And now we'll work with Sycorsand, because again, you don't need to give... The reason why we're giving characters free spells in 5e24 is because they recognize that spell slots are too limited in application, but they're basically sandbagged by it because they refuse to change how the 5e game system's compatibility works, and they're afraid of alienating prior edition enthusiasts. So they keep the 8 schools of magic and they keep the tired spell slot system, although they're doing everything that they can to get you to ignore the fact that you have to use spell slots on stuff. They're continuing to increase the budget and ability to spam out spells that they think are thematic to the subclass that you're using, but since they don't have mana or spell points as a default resource, they can't design around it. So generally, what we've been discovering is when they say, get this spell for free, X uses per day, those X uses per day is essentially a big pile of mana that you get. And so we can instead reduce the cost it requires to cast a spell, which is kind of like temporary hit points is not the same as damage reduction, but in the end, it reduces the amount of damage that you've taken while you have temporary hit points. So it's effectively the same thing. This is like mana cost reduction as opposed to gaining extra temporary hit points like the marshals can. So you see that parallel there? Super fun. And we're down to our last class feature. Druids are so easy. God bless. Let's grab this. Copy. The size of your cube created by your preserved land increases to a 30-foot cube. In addition, when a creature you can see in the area of your preserved land is hit by an attack roll, you can take a reaction to have that attack's damage against the creature. Hey, we were just talking about that. You can choose to maintain this feature second, third. When do we get this? Hold on. I got lost. Hold on. There it is. It's 14th level. Our druid at 14th level has 52 mana. It's a lot of Mai Tai. So you can afford, and you have access to 7th level spells, max cap of 7. Typically, when we see 14th, we typically see things like capstone features never get above 5 mana. So it was 2 mana at 3rd level. It was 3 mana at 6th level. Now we're going to ramp this up to 5 mana. You can maintain this version of the feature as a level 5. You can choose to maintain. I need to get the wording here. Hey, that's my timer. What great timing. Let me wrap up here and we'll go. You can choose to maintain concentration. Here we go. You can choose to maintain concentration on this version of on this enhanced version of the feature as a 3rd level spell. And then you can choose to maintain concentration on this enhanced version of this on this and prior versions of this feature as a. I'm still figuring out the language on that because again it's new tech. So you can choose to maintain concentration on this and the on this enhanced version of the feature. You can choose to maintain concentration on this, on sacrosanct land, improved preservation, and preserved land as a 5th level spell. Then here you can choose to maintain concentration on the combined features of improved preservation and preserved land as a 3rd level spell. Combined features. You can choose to maintain concentration on the combined features of this is the same as the Astro Monk. You get your arms, your head, your torso, and then your soul. You can keep stacking these effects on them, and you can maintain concentration to keep those running all day as well. Well, you sustain effects. You don't maintain concentration if you're a monk. You don't actually have to concentrate to keep things as a monk. They're special. But the stacking effect is the same. So this also lets you stack effects. So it becomes more and more difficult. You can cast up to 7th level spells, or you can have, this will just work for a minute as is, as a 2nd level spell or a wild shape feature. But if you want to sustain it beyond the 1 minute duration, you can drop 5 mana and keep it for however long you can maintain your concentration. Again, it's high risk and high reward. At 5 mana, it's probably more affordable for you to just simply drop it and just cast and just activate it again as a 2nd level with a wild shape. But there could be weird extenuating circumstances where you would want to have this just sustained for a longer duration than a minute, like your combat lasts more than 10 rounds. Oh, God forbid. Or if you roll from one combat and you expect to go into another combat right away, maybe it's worth it for you. I can't imagine circumstances where it would be better to maintain concentration for 5 mana than to just spend 2 mana to gain another use of wild shape and just spam that out because you don't have to maintain concentration on it. But I don't know what you're going to face in your campaign, and this is technically mechanically balanced using the mana system to be able to push effects beyond their normal duration of ability. So that's how that works. And my lunch is done, so I'm going to kick on out of here. I'll be back on Tuesday to work on this some more at lunch. When we come back, we're going to work on the Defiling Sorcerer, and if it's as efficient as this is, then we'll be working on the Templar Warlock on Friday. If Sorcerer runs long, we'll work on that on Tuesday and Friday, and then start on the Warlock and probably finish on Monday the following week. And then we'll be done with all the 4 subclasses from the Darksun UA, and we'll probably get back into doing Spelljammer, War Golems, and Mega Kaiju. I think that's where we're going next. Or maybe we'll revisit the Spelljammer subclasses document that we've been creating to see if it still jives with how we want the game to run. So that's it for now. Monday's a holiday in America. So I know I'll be on Monday night. I don't know if I'll be on Monday morning to do artwork or not. It's a holiday. I don't know what my weekend's going to look like or where I'm going to be crashing. So who knows? But I'll be back definitely Monday night to continue working on sabotage and siege combat in the bashing campaign system for geopolitical adventures. And yeah, we'll be back for our normal routine on Tuesday. So if you think this stuff is cool, please like and subscribe. I would love to be able to build this channel to 1,000+ people. And the only way to do that is for people to stick around, but be welcome to comment, join my Discord community, check out these documents and all the stuff that I published down below. And I'll see you guys at some point on Tuesday. Monday night for sure, maybe Monday morning. Tuesday for certain. See you guys later. Bye.